In a small, quiet village in southeastern Nigeria, where the air was thick with the scent of palm trees and the sounds of chopping birds filled the mornings, there lived a woman named Chidinma. She was known throughout the village for her beauty, her kindness, and her gentle spirit. Chidinma was the kind of woman who would give her last piece of bread to a stranger, the kind who would sit with the elderly and listen to their stories for hours. She was loved by many, but none loved her more than her husband, Obi. Obi was a hard-working man, a trader who traveled to nearby markets to sell his goods. He was respected in the village, not just for his wealth but for his charisma and charm. Together, Chidinma and Obi seemed to have it all: a loving marriage, a comfortable home, and the admiration of their community. But beneath the surface of their seemingly perfect life, a storm was brewing, one that would soon tear their world apart. It was a cool evening when Chidinma returned home earlier than expected. She had gone to the market to sell her woven baskets but decided to return home when the skies darkened, threatening rain. As she approached her compound, she heard laughter, a woman's laughter, light and carefree, mingling with Obi's deep, familiar voice. Her heart skipped a beat. She quickened her steps, her bare feet crunching against the dry leaves scattered on the ground. When she pushed open the door to their hut, the scene before her froze her in place. Obi was sitting on their wooden couch, his arm draped casually around a woman Chidinma had never seen before. The woman was beautiful, with smooth skin and a smile that seemed to light up the room. They were laughing, their heads close together, as though sharing a secret joke. Chidinma's basket slipped from her hands, hitting the ground with a loud thud. Obi's head snapped up, his eyes wide with surprise. "Chidinma!" he exclaimed, jumping to his feet. The woman quickly stood too, her smile fading as she glanced between Obi and Chidinma. "Who is this?" Chidinma asked, her voice trembling. She already knew the answer, but she needed to hear it from him. Obi hesitated, his face a mask of guilt. "This is Nneka," he said finally. "She's a friend." Chidinma's heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. She had always trusted Obi and had always believed in their love. But the way he looked at Nneka, the way they had been laughing together, it was clear that this was more than just friendship. That night, after Nneka had left, Obi confessed everything. He had met Nneka at the market a few months ago. She was a trader from a neighboring village, and they had grown close. What started as innocent conversations had turned into something more. Obi swore it was a mistake, that he still loved Chidinma, but the damage was done. The trust between them was broken. Chidinma felt as though the ground had been ripped out from under her. She couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The pain was unbearable, and she needed someone to talk to, someone who could help her make sense of it all. So, she turned to her best friend, Ngozi. Ngozi had been Chidinma's confidant since they were children. They had shared everything, their dreams, their fears, their secrets. Chidinma trusted Ngozi with her life. So, one evening, as they sat by the river, Chidinma poured her heart out. She told Ngozi about Obi's betrayal, about the woman named Nneka, and about the pain that was eating her alive. Ngozi listened quietly, her face a mask of sympathy. But beneath that mask, something darker stirred. Ngozi had her secrets, her burdens. And as Chidinma spoke, a plan began to form in Ngozi's mind, a plan that would change everything. A few days later, the village was abuzz with gossip. Whispers of Obi's infidelity spread like wildfire, carried from one compound to the next. Chidinma couldn't step outside without hearing the murmurs, without feeling the weight of the villagers' judgmental stares. She had never felt so exposed, so vulnerable. It didn't take long for her to realize where the rumors had started. Ngozi, the one person she had trusted, had betrayed her. Ngozi had shared Chidinma's secret with the village, turning her private pain into a public spectacle. Chidinma confronted Ngozi, her heart pounding with anger and hurt. "How could you?" she demanded, tears streaming down her face. "I trusted you." Ngozi's expression was cold, her eyes devoid of remorse. "You shouldn't have told me," she said simply. Some secrets are meant to stay buried. The consequences of Ngozi's betrayal were swift and devastating. Obi's reputation was ruined. The villagers, who had once respected him, now looked at him with disdain. His business suffered as people refused to buy from a man they no longer trusted. Even Chidinma, who had been the victim, was not spared. The villagers whispered about her behind her back, questioning her worth as a wife, as a woman. Chidinma's life became a living nightmare. She couldn't escape the gossip, the judgment, the constant reminders of her pain. She wished she had never confided in Ngozi, wished she had kept her secret to herself. If only she had stayed silent. One evening, as Chidinma sat alone by the river, she realized the painful truth. She thought back to the day she first confided in Ngozi, to the pain she had felt in that moment. If only she had stayed silent. If only she had kept the secret to herself, maybe things would have been different. Maybe her life wouldn't have been torn apart by the cruel words and gossip of others. But in that moment of silence, Chidinma understood a painful truth: sometimes, silence is the only weapon we have against the world. Sometimes, the pain of sharing can cause more damage than the pain of bearing it alone, and yet, she also realized that the truth, no matter how painful, will always find its way to the surface. Perhaps it was her fate to face this betrayal. But the lesson she learned was one she would carry with her forever. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over the water, Chidinma made a decision. She would leave the village, start anew somewhere far away, where the whispers of betrayal couldn't reach her. She would carry the lesson with her, a reminder of the cost of trust, the price of silence. And as she walked away from the only home she had ever known, one thought echoed in her mind: if only she had stayed silent. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you.